All right, first up today, kids and vaping. Get this, a recent NBC story said vaping and juuling are the new smoking for teens. Is your kid doing it? Maybe you haven't snooped enough. Is it safe? Today, what every parent should know.
Dr. John Duffy is a clinical psychologist who specializes in parenting, families, teens, and relationships. He's also a best-selling author, speaker, and podcaster. If you're not following him, you should. Good to have you here.
Good to be here, guys.
Yeah.
Always.
Get to it.
Okay,
Yeah.
So snooping.
I love how he's like, okay, here I go.
Yes.
He's like,
I have an opinion on snooping.
Go.
Here, what happens in my office is if parents snoop without announcing, I'm going to be looking around. I'm going to be checking to make sure you are healthy and safe. Then that becomes the issue.
Agreed.
Oh, you don't trust me. You're being sneaky. I like announcing. I'm going to be snooping. I'm concerned about your health and safety, so I'm going to tell you right now, your room is open season. I own it. It's my room. Your phone is my phone, so I'm going to be checking that stuff. And that goes for vaping and juuling too, by the way. I'm going to be looking for these things, and I need to know what those are.
Yeah.
That's good. Does that just make them smarter of where they hide it?
It does do that, and yet, so you have to be really, really clever about it because these things are stealth.
Okay.
It is very, very hard to identify. I had a kid in my office recently who had a Juul that looked like a credit card. Exactly like a credit card.
Okay, wait, back up a second. There's a lot of people who are going to say, I don't know what a Juul is.
Yep.
I don't know what vaping is, e-cigarettes.
So just explain it.
Let's start from the top. Okay, so vaping and juuling are ways of heating up nicotine, either pod-based or liquid-based, for the user to inhale. Exactly.
A lot of times they have a sweet smell. There's grape, there's strawberry, there's cotton candy, they smell delicious.
Very appealing to kids.
Yeah.
Very appealing. And there's very little taboo around it. So socially, it's very acceptable too. So there's this culture around it that doesn't really discourage it at all among kids. It's very easy to get into.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I think it is very much accepted. We've had guests do it here inside our studio. Nobody would light up a cigarette, a traditional tobacco cigarette, but we've had guests, and I'm not criticizing them, vape in our studio because it's that accepted. Now, an important note, the city of Milwaukee, as of midnight on Tuesday, just banned electronic cigarettes in bars and restaurants. Anywhere, any place that smoking is banned, now also vaping is not allowed.
What do you think of that?
I think good luck with that because unlike smoking, vaping is nearly impossible to detect. You can't really
see
smell
the smoke?
Yeah.
You can see the smoke, although I have had kids in my office demonstrate how quickly they can, that's not smoke, that's vapor.
Okay.
And there's a big difference. It doesn't smell the same way, it doesn't feel the same way, it doesn't feel so sketchy as smoking does, and they can inhale that right back in. So that if there's an adult nearby, or if you're in a bar, you can, it's an impressive party trick, to be honest with you, it really is.
Yeah.
And so kids kind of play with that too. So all of this, in fairness to kids, is kind of fun, and it doesn't feel as dangerous as smoking.
So are we just like sticking the muds? Like, is this safe? I mean, what's the problem?
It's a great question.
No, it's a great question. We are not sticking the muds. The amount of nicotine in one of these pods, in one of these vials, is more than a pack of cigarettes. And
in a Juul. In a
Juul. It's more than a pack of cigarettes, and kids don't have a good bead on how much of this am I ingesting?
Yeah.
And so instead of thinking, I'm not smoking cigarettes, so I'm not getting hooked on anything.
I'm not getting lung cancer.
Right. The truth is they are getting hooked on nicotine, and they are far more likely, a little bit of research is already showing, to smoke cigarettes in the future.
Yeah, I wondered if it's a gateway to pot and other things that they inhale, ingest, use.
More so, guys, than anything I've come across in 25 years of doing this. This feels like a gateway. This feels scary to me.
Okay, so let's talk about that. You're a clinical psychologist. You actually see patients. You don't just appear on TV.
Right.
Right?
As much as it may seem that way.
As great of a face as you have, you can back it up.
You're
with
so
school.
TV perfect that people must think this is his full-time job is to be a psychologist
No,
on
we got to
TV.
pull him away
I
from
just come
patients.
invade the morning plan every chance I get. I just wait over there.
In fact, do you go back to your office today and see patients?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay.
I
so
would bet
he's
it makes
legit.
you better with kids. Like,
Oh, for
kids
sure.
are probably like, I saw that guy on this national
And he's
show.
got a
Right.
podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so you actually see patients. What are you seeing? Are kids saying they're doing it? Are they all those things they don't think it's as bad as smoking? What's your vibe on it?
Yeah, so kids tell me virtually every day that they do this. They either vape or they Juul or both. And they love, there's all these apparatus affiliated with it that kids really love. There's these mods, there's these vials of juice. There's the Juul itself is a really cool space age looking thing. It's very techy. It looks like a flash drive.
It looks like a flash drive.
Yes.
Yep.
Some of them.
Some
but
of them. Or a credit card.
Even cooler, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so kids are drawn to this stuff, and there is no taboo. What worries me most is the lack of taboo. There is no feeling like what I'm doing isn't right for me.
Because in a recent study, the CEO, so the CDC did this study, and traditional tobacco cigarette use is down. So it seems like yay for American kids.
Yep.
Fewer kids are smoking cigarettes.
Yes.
But way more have tried this trend, vaping, juuling, and the CEO of the American Heart Association recently said vaping is a scary trend.
Vaping is an absolutely scary trend. Both the American Heart Association and the CDC, based on my experience, the experience of other clinicians I know, are underestimating by tenfold how few kids are using this. So many kids are using this stuff. They might not be self-reporting that they're using it, but it is epidemic.
Okay, I think it's great that we're talking about it, but I'm going to tell you, I had a conversation with a 10-year-old about this. I didn't have, saying to a child or a young teen, oh, the CDC says, like, I feel like that's like over their head, it means nothing.
Yep.
So what do we actually say to teens?
Yeah, what do
we say to
parents
kids?
do?
Yeah.
Because saying like statistics that we're not really aware of doesn't work. So how do we get them to stop?
You are so right, right? We become Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah,
we make
it means
no
nothing.
sense whatsoever. It means nothing, right? But if we talk to our kids and say, and we ask them, even our 10-year-olds, like, you know, what's going on in your 5th grade, right? You know, what's happening? Are people doing this stuff? What's going on in the grade in front of you, the grade behind? Kids are very well aware of this. Have you done this? Have your friends done this? If you do that with an open mind, they'll share with you what's going on. And the more you know, the better off you are. And don't be afraid to tell your stories about nicotine. So if you have, most of us have.
Because it's still a drug.
It's still a drug, and it's important that your kids know it's a drug. But if you just jump in with a lecture, you've lost them before you start. You're absolutely right.
Because the question was, okay, well, so what? But what problems is that going to cause me?
Right.
That was the question.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know that answer.
And even telling an 11-year-old, you know, like, oh, well, 5 years down the road, you might be smoking pot or worse.
Means
That's not going to
nothing.
mean anything to them.
You said something to me once during a commercial break, another time you were here, and you said, you know, the fact that this is almost like a sticky oil.
Yeah.
And we're putting that into our lungs. There's clearly not enough research yet, but there's something that's probably going to come down the line, was your thought. And now you're not making a claim on that.
Nope.
But you're certainly saying there's got to be something here that isn't going to fare well.
I can't imagine, with all the research there is just on nicotine, that this isn't going to break bad on us sometime in the not too distant future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Good
that's
stuff.
fair.
Yeah.
Have you done any podcasts on it? Because we're going to share your website. No, seriously, have you talked about this?
Not yet. This was my intro into talking about it, but we plan to.
I think it's good. drjohnduffy.com, podcasts, blogs, and more. It's called Better, right? And
It
you
is.
do the podcast with your wife.
I do.
That's cool.
And she's awesome at it.
You have great
Yeah,
topics.
I bet
too.
she is.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy
Bring
it.
her sometime.
I will.
I'd like to meet her.
Okay.
She's great on TV, I bet, too.
Oh, you bet.
Thank you. Appreciate
guys.
it very much.